RealAgriculture.com's coverage of Canada's Outdoor Farm Show 2012 is brought to you by Pride Seeds, High Stick NT, and SoybeanSchool.com. Wheat. It's kind of that, I've listened to you give some presentations today. It is a bit of a confusing story for some people. What's making wheat so confusing?
Well, some farmers don't understand why it's trading where it is in the $9 range. For 13, we're in the high 8s. Because all they see is lots of bushels in the US, lots of global supplies. But there are some concerns. You've got, not only has the US experienced a drought, but Russia has. And Russia's a big exporter of wheat. They've had some production problems. A lot of traders are questioning the export surplus again. They did have a special meeting to discuss whether they were going to put a restriction on wheat exports or a ban. They finally decided, no, we're fine. I think they've probably postponed that till later in the year, so that's kind of supporting prices. I mean, obviously that whole substitution with corn for livestock producers this year has helped wheat. Wheat's been a little bit cheaper depending on the month or the time of the year, so that's also supporting that higher demand. US dollars getting a little cheaper here, that's also supporting exports. And then of course Australia's dry. The western part of Australia is dry. We're now down to 22 million metric tons versus a very large crop earlier in the year of 28 to 29. Most of that Western Australia wheat is what's being exported, so that's also helping. And then over the next few weeks we're going to start to plant a lot of that hard winter wheat in the very south deltas of the United States. And if the weather permits, with these good prices, that's going to plant more acres. You know the globe is going to do the same thing, and potentially that's very bearish. So despite it being higher, following really corn and beans higher, seasonally this time of the year, wheat prices tend to go the opposite way. So if you got any wheat in the bins and you're holding off, I'd be a seller here. The 2012 December futures contract is crossing that 50-day moving average. If it closes below that, that could be a bearish signal. And then 13 are trading at highs right now in the high 8s, 860, 870. There's a potential for that. You know, you could wait for that export ban from Russia later in the year, or maybe some production situation globally. But remember that we're not in a food riot situation like we were in 08, when global ending stocks were very, very tight. Historically, stocks use ratios got to historical low ratios, and the United States ending stocks got down to 306 million. We're at 698. If we plant more acres, as much as 2 million more here versus USDA expectations here in the next couple months, that would be bearish wheat futures going into 2013.
Is there anything that makes it, other than shorter ending stocks, is there anything that makes it a more bullish story for you, that changes your mind?
Not necessarily. I mean, the only thing that remains quite bullish, I guess you could argue, is demand. Demand quite strong. Russian wheat being discounted $40 a metric ton, cheaper than most other wheats around the globe. So U.S. kind of not winning some of that business. But other than that, it's tough for me to see wheat trade above 10. If I believe corn is king in the U.S. and corn is topping here and the highs are in, then it's over for both beans and wheat as well.